and let us all do we can to build a better future.
So yesterday, Jimmy Dore interviewed RFK Jr. A lot of people tuned into that interview, and for the most part, many were very upset and did not like the statements that RFK Jr. was saying about the relationships between the Israeli state and the Palestinian people. And I've made it clear in regards to how I feel about this election cycle and this Democratic primary of 2024. I understand maybe why people are excited to support Marianne Williamson or RFK Jr., but I've said this after 2020, the game is rigged. The Democratic primary is going to be rigged again in 2024. You're wasting your time being in the Democratic primary, and I'm not going to support a single Democrat. I'm also not going to support a single Republican because I don't believe in the two-party system. Now, I understand that we do have maybe some Marianne Williamson supporters or RFK Jr. supporters, and yes, even Republican voters who watch our show. But when you participate in the two-party system, there's one thing abundantly clear, and that is the influence of the Israeli lobby and how it has a stranglehold over all of our politicians. And to be clear here, many nations, not the United States, but many nations have been condemning the apartheid tactics and policies that Israel is doing to the Palestinian people. The absolute extermination, removal of homes, and so much more. The list can go on and on and on. Now, when doing this, Jimmy Dore did an interview with RFK Jr. So first, I just want to play up this video. Shout out to the Post-Duopolis, Dirtbag Left 1 on Twitter, who managed to at least get 2 segments of this conversation that Jimmy Dore had with RFK Jr. And again, look, we saw in 2016 and in 2020 what the Democratic Party did to Bernie Sanders. We saw firsthand, especially in 2016, how the DCCC was working alongside the Clinton campaign to deny Bernie Sanders the nomination. And to be clear here, before I go on any further, Bernie Sanders allowed himself to get cheated and screwed over. His volunteers, his delegates, they all got stepped over by the DNC establishment. They got smeared by corporate media. And we saw it again get played out in 2020. And of course, we saw what happened to Tulsi Gabbard, Andrew Yang, and yes, even Marianne Williamson. You'd think everybody would learn their lesson by now not to run in the Democratic Party. Same thing with Justice Democrats' brand new Congress, Our Revolution. You cannot reform the DNC. And RFK Jr. saying that he wants to return the party back to where he remembered. It never existed in the first place. Okay, the Democratic Party hasn't followed through for the American people. And yes, vote blue no matter who. This is going to trigger you because the Democratic Party has abandoned all of its base. Does it come as no surprise why Joe Biden's approval ratings are in the toilet? At this point, what else will it take for a lot of people to wake up about the Democratic Party? The Democrats are incapable of follow-through. And even in the off chance, let's say Marianne Williamson and RFK Jr. were successful, the DNC can just say, no, we don't like it. So, and they could just say, we're going to still run with our nominee. So I want to pull up this video here of RFK Jr. on the Jimmy Dore show talking about the Democratic Party.
And then the Democratic Party is doing a bunch of things to make sure that I can't, that even if I win more votes than Joe Biden, that they won't count. Oh, the Democratic Party thinks that I may win New Hampshire, so they've removed Joe Biden from New Hampshire, and they say that if any candidate, they've passed a rule that says any candidate who actively campaigns in New Hampshire at the delegates they win will not be allowed to into the convention. And that now what they're saying is they're going to extend that so that if you campaign in New Hampshire, which I've already done, that any votes that you get in Georgia won't count for you either. And
what?
Yeah, this is what they're doing. So I don't know, unless that my name won't be able to appear on the ballot in Georgia if I campaign in New Hampshire. That's what the DNC is up to now. I mean,
So,
it's,
but I thought Democrats are saving democracy. This seems like the opposite of
it
democracy.
is
This
not,
seems like
it's not a,
totalitarianism.
it's
And
not a good template for democracy. This election cycle, there are no debates.
You think? Again, look. This is what I've been trying to say to a lot of people who think that either Marianne Williamson or RFK Jr. have a shot. They don't. Okay, they just don't. The Democratic Party has made it abundantly clear. They want Joe Biden to be the nominee. Yes, vote blue no matter who. You could go back to lunch and brunch or dinner, whatever you want. And you could say, oh, yeah, kids just said that the Democrats want Biden. Yeah, but do voters want Biden? No. Biden doesn't inspire anything. And he's got a whole bunch of scandals flying around him, his administration, and everything that he touches. So good luck, Democrats, because we see what a Biden presidency looks like. We see for the fact that there is no follow through, and our quote unquote progressive champions in the House of Representatives or the U.S. Senate are never going to hold Biden's feet to the fire. So, of course, RFK Jr., you're running in a Democratic primary. Did you not have a solid battle plan to even face off against the DNC? Because if you didn't, then why are you running in it? You should run as an independent then, because no matter what you do, you are going to be their villain, okay? And I have a hard time sympathizing with people who think that the Democrat, or if they're running in the Democratic Party, that somehow they can make a difference. No, the DNC has its marching orders. The DNC wants people that will follow orders. The DNC wants people who will put on a good act of pretending to raise the ruckus, but have no follow through. It's like a character from ECW or WCW. You have your heels, you have your baby faces, you have your jabronis. Everyone has a role to play in Congress, but don't you ever challenge the system. The Democratic primary is rigged from the start. And now I want to switch it over to another video segment. And it has to deal with RFK Jr. talking about Israel and Palestine. Now, first, I want to pull this up here to Max Blumenthal, because, again, Max Blumenthal is an award-winning journalist, reporter, who has done groundbreaking work at the Gray Zone News with his colleagues Aaron Monte and so many others. And I do hope that we could see this conversation, because I think it's long overdue that RFK Jr. is given an education, a true education, not being interrupted by Rabbi Shmuley, about Israel and Palestinian relations. So this is from Max Blumenthal. Tonight, Jimmy Dore asked Robert F. Kennedy Jr. if he would publicly engage with me on Israel-Palestine. RFK Jr. agreed. I look forward to a live civil discussion at Gray Zone News filled with facts and fact checks if necessary. And Bobby, of course, will get equal time. So this is probably what people need to look forward to, because this was brought up, and I want to play this video in fairness to Jimmy Dore. So let's play it.
I love Max Blumenthal, but I do not think he's objective on Israel. I think his reporting on Israel is not it needs to be questioned.
okay, well, here's what I would ask. Just like, Peter Hotez ducked you and Joe Rogan, I would love, because Max is the guy to talk to about this, not me. So would you do an interview with Max, because he would be able to talk to you about this way better than I can. I'm really not good at this.
Yeah, I would love to talk to Max. I love Max.
Now, here's the thing. Max Blumenthal has done, again, award-winning reporting and journalism in regards towards the state of Israel, its apartheid tactics, and how it has been displacing the Palestinian people. I would have to say, in regards to what I've seen online about RFK Jr.'s statements on Israel, I can't support a Democratic candidate that's going to be all on board for Israel and have somebody just dictate how we should be dealing, or at least not dealing, turning a blind eye to what Israel is doing. Now, real quick, I want to pull up this tweet from Due Dissident. Quick reality check. RFK Jr. is down 7 points in the past 90 days, averaging 13.6% in the polls. This is not a campaign with any real momentum beyond online wish casting, which makes it all more ridiculous that people are tying themselves in knots to excuse Zionism. Now, I want to pull up this video here, and we played it previously, and I want to give acknowledgement and credit where it's due, Mint Press News. No, not Mint Press News, INN. Because Indie News Network was the ones that did this. Mint Press News did a little shady thing by trying to cover INN's logo. But I want to show you again why this debate or this conversation between Max Blumenthal and RFK Jr. can happen. On a side note, I want to give a huge shout out to RBN, Revolutionary Blackout Network, for saying, hey, there should be a debate between RFK Jr. and Dr. Cornel West. That would be great because guess what, RFK? The Democrats are not going to have you debate Biden. It's not going to happen. So I want to pull up this video here and shout out again to Indie News Network because these are the ones who did it. There's their logo. Mint Press News, you should be better than that than trying to cover up their logo. That was a real shady thing that you did. So let's play it. And again, when questioned about it, and these questions are for RFK Jr., this gentleman right here is speaking for him, which again, last I checked, aren't you running for the nomination and shouldn't you be getting the questions? That's just me speaking.
Hi, first of all, I would like to thank you for your position on mandates. As a Jewish woman who cares for justice, I do have a question. It's been about a year since U.S. citizen and journalist Shireen Abu Abu was shot by the IDF. It is known through both video and forensic science that it was definitely the IDF and that they targeted her. Are you willing to commit to calling for Israel to extradite the soldier to the U.S. with body cam for a public U.S. trial? She is a U.S. citizen and justice should be served. Also,
no, wait,
let me finish. Don't speak over me, sir.
Let's just do one question at a time.
Sir, please let me finish. Also, please,
if you make it quick,
can you also commit to having a conversation one-on-one with Jewish Voice for Peace?
Okay, so wait. Let's be civil about this. What's your name, please?
My name is.
What is it? Thank you for coming tonight. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Israel is a open democracy with a free press.
I didn't ask you, by the way. I asked that. No.
What Bobby will answer in a second.
I
am going to correct misinformation. The IDF has now admitted that this renowned Palestinian journalist probably did die from an Israeli bullet during a shootout against terrorists. She was there covering it. When you said that she was deliberately targeted is an absolute lie.
She was definitely targeted. She had a helmet on.
Wait.
She had a helmet on and she had armor.
She has covered.
There is no way.
She covered dozens.
There is no way. Wait. Took a direct shot.
No. She covered dozens of
military.
She covered dozens of military raids. Why did they wait to?
It took a direct shot.
Now, look. After seeing this and still running a Democratic Party, I mean, at this point, and this video is already a week old, you know, we're seeing where, again, RFK Jr. stands on this. And by having this individual speak for him, it's not looking good. Now, here's how I feel, especially with that previous clip where RFK Jr. agreed to have a conversation with Max Blumenthal. I would like to see that. I hope he's consistent enough to do it. And at least he agreed on a live stream, which I believe 30,000 plus people watching, that he would do that. I think it's a conversation that needs to be had. And at least there won't be Rabbi Shmuley there just interrupting and talking over RFK Jr. Throughout this entire, or at least throughout that entire debate. I think it's important being consistent enough to show up. And again, when we look at these conversations with these politicians that are running for office, you have to remember, even if they're in the Democratic Party, There are certain things that they cannot break away against. And this is why I say to people, don't support Democrats, don't support Republicans. All right. The establishment has to be intertwined with the lobby groups and financial interests. And yes, there is an Israeli lobby group. It has financial interests. They buy off all our politicians. The game is rigged from the start. Our politicians can be bought. Yeah, I mean, look at the amount of politicians that are either influenced, get money from, or are associated with the Israeli lobby. It's almost all of Washington, D.C. at this point. And if you speak out against it in any which way or form, well, that's the kiss of death. Automatically, you are a villain. Never forget, old hagbag Nancy was yelling at AOC because she voted no, and she had to turn her no vote to a present. And of course, AOC was crying, and that was for the vote for the Iron Dome under the Trump administration, of all things. Says a lot about the Democrats.
Say what?
It took a direct shot to get her between the helmet and the armor.
What is your source for this?
What my source? My source is forensics and the video.
I have no source.
And the video.
So Israel conducted a lengthy investigation about this, which is what they do always. And amazingly, they admitted it probably was an Israeli bullet. And unfortunately,
Mr.
there are
Kennedy,
journalists who died.
Mr. Kennedy.
Rabbi Shmuley, you're not Kennedy. You're not RFK Jr. The question's for RFK Jr.
It is tragic.
Don't you think that, Mr. Kennedy, do you not think that this, I am Jewish, do not tell me that. Mr. Kennedy, please don't you believe that the U.S. should be able to adjudicate this? She was a U.S. citizen. She was also a journalist. And again, do you also commit to sitting down with the Jewish Voice for Peace and having a conversation with them, or do those Jewish voices not count? Yes, they do. Thank you.
Okay, enough. Let him respond, and we're going to move on. Go ahead.
I don't know enough about the case to make a judgment about, extradition, and I don't know if we even have an extradition treaty for that particular crime, or what the basis of it would be in Israel or Palestine or wherever the killing took place. I just couldn't answer your question.
Since Israel is allies.
Now, of course, we can extradite another person, first name Julian, last name A. He's somewhere in the European hemisphere in the Belmarsh prison. I'll let you look on Google Maps where the Belmarsh prison is located at. But when an American citizen who's also with the press is, taken out, I guess we don't have an extradition treaty with them. So at the end of the day, when we in independent media interview these politicians, these candidates running for office, it's our job to at least get them to see another side or another perspective. And I think Jimmy Dore pushing for RFK Jr. to speak to Max Blumenthal is not only a correct path, but it's the one thing in which we'll see somebody actually really challenge RFK Jr.'s values and beliefs on the state of Israel, and it's apartheid tactics. There was a huge protest group out in front of that event that INN covered. Indie News Network, they covered it. And there was the Jewish Voices for Peace calling out Zionism and the wickedness of the Israeli government and what it was doing to the Palestinian people. We really need to have a conversation about ending what is happening there, because so long as we turn a blind eye to it, our government will still keep on giving its unending support to those horrible policies that are impacting the Palestinian people. I am not going to vote Democrat. I understand why people do vote Democrat or somehow think they can reform the Democratic Party. I get it, right? Me voting third party, people say that I'm wasting my time. I get it. I understand it. But I cannot condone or give my silent, obedient consent to the DNC or the RNC because of their wickedness, their corruption, and their unending greed. I understand many people look at electoral politics as a waste. I still hold on to the audacity and hope of voting independent. supporting citizen ballot initiatives. That's what I believe in. But to run in a party such as the Democratic Party, it tells me that you're okay with trying to associate yourself with an institution that doesn't respect the American people, because the Democratic Party doesn't respect us. Neither does the Republican Party. And until enough people wake up, nothing will change. So I'm looking forward for this interview that RFK Jr. or this conversation RFK Jr. will have with Max Blumenthal. I hope RFK Jr. has the strength and follow through to go with it. And I encourage all of you to see that interview if and when it does get set up by Max Blumenthal in the Gray Zone. We'll be talking about it here at Hard Lens Media.